Dogecoin has had a little bit of trouble since I last talked to you guys. In my last couple videos, I was watching this inverse head and shoulders right here. We had resistance, 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 resistance. I was watching this big resistance line. We're on the 4-hour time frame right now, and I was saying if we break this going to the upside, then that's gonna give us a nice pump going up. And we actually did get that, but we actually got resistance right at that 23% level at 15823. We actually went a little bit higher than that, but right around that level is where we got rejected and started heading to the downside. I'm looking at that on the Fibonacci on the Fibonacci retracement chart from this bottom, or this little trend right here. We have a little trend. Once we start getting resistance, we could get the Fibonacci retracement tool and then drag from the bottom to the top, and then if we think it's going to dip down, a 50% level is a good place for it to dip down to, and among all the other ones. But in general, we could also use these ones as resistance as well. Once we're underneath them, then we could use them as resistance sometimes. Like right now, we came down, hit that 50%, the 38% was resistance, and we came down, hit that 50% again, then came back down to the 61% over here, and then got a bounce, broke through the 50%, and then hit that 38%, got resistance on it, came back down, hit that 50% level, broke through the 32%, hit that red one, the 23%, and then came back down, and now we're at the 38% level. Are we gonna, it looks like we're kind of getting a little bit of support right here, but it also, I don't know, since we're below it and we're kind of breaking it, I was thinking the next level I was looking at was down here sitting at .145. I'm not really doing anything, but like as far as trading on it right now, I'm just kind of holding tight, because I was thinking, I really hate it when I dump it and then it starts going to the upside. So I was kind of being a little kind of cautious, and that's also why I wasn't really, I was having microphone problems, but hopefully, okay, it's fixed now. But and then, so yeah, this is the third attempt to make this video. But what I was doing is watching this support, and then we had a trend line going to the upside, something like this. We broke this going to the downside right here, and that's what made me think maybe we're going to come back down and hit this .145 level again, since we broke this .151 38% level. Maybe we're going to come back down to the 50%, maybe even come back down lower. I was getting a little bearish there for a minute in my last couple times I recorded this video, but it looks like since then we've got a couple support candles, or a couple, it just looks like a little support area. Let's go ahead and draw a trend line, something like this, and then I think we could also draw on the tops. Kind of, this is how I've been doing it lately. Sometimes we'll get nice little drops or pumps, and then we'll start going sideways, and you could even kind of do something like this. We also had a downtrend, something like this, where we have resistance, we're still in this. We haven't broke through this sideways. I thought we actually might have. You could probably argue we had one right here though, where we had resistance and resistance, but basically we had a downtrend, we broke it going sideways. Now we can look at the top and the bottom, and that will give us a better idea. If we break this bottom line going to the downside, then we could get more confident on that Fibonacci level, at least at .145. Or if we break this top line going to the upside, this top one is sitting around .1516 approximately. If we could break that going to the upside, then we could get more bullish, and I think we'd start breaking this downtrend. Maybe we can start going back to the upside. But yeah, I was looking at that inverse head and shoulders, and we came up, hit that Fibonacci retracement level, and got rejected. What I was hoping for, and I was kind of waiting to make a video on this too, is that we would get a bounce, since we got resistance, and we broke through it. Then hopefully we could get support on it after. When we come back down, get support on it, and then bounce to the upside. It would turn into the resistance. The resistance would turn into support once we broke it going to the upside. Sometimes that happens, especially it seems like with these inverse head and shoulders, where we break up and then we have to test it again, and then we can start going to the upside. But it looks like we failed the test and we're starting to go to the downside. But like I said, I wonder if we're getting support, and we're gonna have to wait and see that on maybe the 1 hour time frame. You could even maybe watch it on the 5-minute time frame. I was watching it like a little channel pattern on the 5-minute time frame earlier. That was another thing I was watching on one of my other videos. Let's see, are the ones that got deleted. But yeah, we have resistance, 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 resistance. It's kind of more of a falling one. Let's go ahead and delete the one from the 1 hour time frame. Delete that one and that one, where this one's a little more going to the downside, something like that. But if we break this one going to the upside or to the downside, we could drag from the bottom to the top of this little channel and then drag that to the breakout going up or going to the downside, and that'll give us at least one target. Like I said, if we go down, then I'm probably going to be looking at that Fibonacci retracement, and we are kind of trending down technically. I mean, until we break it going up, then we are technically just in this channel going down. So that's what I'm looking at. And then if we break to the upside, that could be the start of a reversal, something like, let's say, I wonder if there's a W in here, because that's usually how they go. I don't know. But if we have a channel, and if we break that, then these ones are pretty easy to target, top to the bottom, something like that. Drag that to the breakout, looking at something like that. And I think if we can start like finding support on this Fibonacci retracement level sitting at .151, like if we could get above it again and start bouncing on it as support, then maybe we can start shooting for this one again, and then at least maybe target this one, since we don't really have any patterns right now. That inverse head and shoulders pattern didn't really play out. You know what else I was thinking though is, okay, so I was also watching this on the daily time frame. It's another inverse head and shoulders, and we haven't really, like, it's still in play in my opinion. Let's go ahead and just let's just go ahead and delete everything, remove everything. Okay, so we're looking at the daily time frame right now, and we have resistance, resistance, resistance. Let's go ahead and draw a trend line going like this, nice straight trend line. Basically the same setup as we were looking at before on the 4 hour time frame. So I mean, it could perform the same way, where it just comes up a little bit and then kind of does the same thing, but maybe it'll do where I was talking about, and it'll have to test it and then it'll actually do what it's supposed to do. But we have resistance, 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 giving us a trend line, and then that's that neckline. And then we have a potential shoulder pattern, head pattern, shoulder pattern, head and shoulders. So if we break this line going to the upside, then we could target from the bottom to the top of that neckline and headline, or head, I guess you would say. And then let's go ahead and do that real quick, and then we'll drag this to the breakout, something like that, and then that gives us that target of around .195. And then, like I was also talking about on my other video, if we drag this to the the wicks, then we can even get a bigger target, and this takes us around .202. Since we're changing that neckline somewhere up here, that neckline would turn into like .17 So, and I've been talking about that we need to break 17 cents. I think that's what it is. Yeah, .168. Yeah, 17's right around there. So if we could break 17 cents, then maybe we can go to, oh, this one even takes it higher. Let's see, let's redo this. Yeah, it really just depends on where you're targeting. That's kind of a nice average, and then that takes us to around .216. I mean, in general, I think if we break 17 cents, then we could start looking at the previous resistances up here. This one is sitting at .202, and this one is sitting at .22, basically 22 cents. The tip top over here, the highest that we've gone, is .229. And I was kind of like looking at, like, I was kind of zooming out, and I was just thinking, because okay, so on the GameStop stock, I don't know if any of you guys played it. Leave a comment if you did, or if you guys watched the video, if you saw the video. But I called that stock out before it bounced, and I was basically talking about how you use a Fibonacci retracement chart inverse. So usually we'll get from the bottom to the top, drag, and then we're basically looking for the top, and then we want to find the bottom. Right now we are looking for the top, and we wait up, I don't know, but I'll just show you. So we basically do the reverse. Instead of dragging from the bottom to the top, we drag from the top to this bottom over here, where we think it bottomed out. So we think it bottomed out in here possibly, and then that's where the bottom is. So let's go ahead and do that. And then it's basically like what I like to think of it as like the dead cat bounce or whatever, where something comes down really far and then it gets a nice little bounce, and you can maybe look at that 50% level. Same thing that we do in the other way, it just goes down, but now it's going to go to the upside. So I mean, this is just like kind of I don't know. It's kind of high targets, so I don't really. I mean, I kind of like. That's why I kind of like playing or like sticking to like the smaller time frames and looking at like trends and stuff like that. Because this is a little more out there, not out there, but I don't know, theoretical or whatever. But basically, the 50% level is sitting at 0.395. So that could be a potential target. The 38% level could be another target, 0.313. And check out where we actually bounced on. So let's go ahead and make sure this is like accurate, because we want to get the bottom over here, and then let's go up to the top and make sure that this top is sitting at the top right there. And I mean, it kind of cracked it a little bit. It did kind of crack it a little bit, but check out where it got resistance at, that red line. I think if we could break through 0.210, then we can start shooting for these ones up here. And it's, I mean, you could go to the GameStop thing. Let's just check out GameStop real quick, because this was like a quick 200%, and it was crazy. I didn't get the full 200%. I kind of got a little greedy, but I was looking at the same thing. So let's go to the daily time frame. We have the top up here, and then we have the bottom. Where was the bottom? The bottom was down here, I think. Let's see. Oh no, the bottom was down here. I'm sorry. So we had that falling wedge. We went to the bottom. I was thinking the 38% level or the 50% level. It actually did go to the 50. It all went all the way up to here. It went all the way up to the 61% level. So, I mean, it's not the same thing, but it's basically gave me kind of a target. I was looking at these two levels, and it hit both of them. And I was also watching this falling wedge pattern. We dragged from the bottom to the top, something like that, drag that to the breakout, and that actually gave me the first target of the red line. And then the 38 and the 50, I was just using the Fibonacci retracement. But yeah, and I actually didn't get full advantage of this. I actually ended up closing my position somewhere where, let's see, let's go back to the 5-minute time frame. It was somewhere right here where we had this trend line right here. We had a trend line. We broke that going to the downside right there. Let's go ahead and delete everything. We had a trend line like this. Once we broke this going to the downside, I was like, okay, I'm out. But yeah, it was a crazy run. It did hit my 200% though target. But okay, so let's take it back to the Dogecoin chart, and let's kind of tie that back to this chart. So like I was showing you, we had this high all the way up here. And then, like, I mean, 38% level, 50% level, something like that. We're not that far off from there, honestly. So, I don't know. Something to think about. I don't have any like evidence to back this up quite yet. But like, I mean, as far as like how I usually present trends and stuff like that. But that's kind of something I was kind of thinking about. Let's go back. Let's just delete everything and start from scratch and kind of look at that 1 hour time frame, and kind of show you some of these trends that we could watch. For starters, we were watching this uptrend. We had support. Let's go ahead and draw this uptrend like this. We broke this going to the downside. Now what we're watching is this downtrend. We have resistance, giving us a downtrend, something like this. Once we break this downtrend, then we could get more bullish. And just to break it down in basics, I mean, if you really want to just get basic, that's pretty much that's what I would be looking at. And then if we want to bump it up a little bit, go to the 4 hour time frame. We had that little run. We had this little run, and then we'll put up that Fibonacci retracement, something like this, because now we're in a retracement, getting a little dip. And we're bouncing off these levels right now, so these are good ones to watch. If we can break this 38% level sitting at 0.150 or so approximately somewhere around there, then we can start shooting for 0.158 at least. And then if we break that, on, and we'll be looking at trend lines along the way. But like I said, right now we're looking at this downtrend. Once we break that, then we could get more bullish. In basic terms, but until we do break this downtrend, then I'm looking at this next Fibonacci retracement level sitting at 0.145. It looks like we're really testing it right now. Let's see if we could break it. I would much rather go to the upside than have to come back down and test some of these levels, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think though. If you guys like the video, hit that thumbs up, and if you want to check out the last video, click right here, and I'll see you in the next one.